Yeah. Hello, everybody. I think we can start now. I'm Shelvin, by the way, from RBC, and thank you for spending your afternoon with us. I can also see some of our existing clients with us who have already invested with us in the past. Basically, the exercise of this webinar was because of multiple inquiries and requests from our clients to conduct a sharing in order to help especially first-time investor or buyers to have a smooth kickstart in their investment journey in the UK. So it is not a full-fledged workshop. Don't worry, we're not going to take like 2 hours, 3 hours of the time, but we have summarized all the key elements, especially the buying process, the acquisition costs, and all the top tips to buy well. We are also very honored to have David Khan for Origa Commercial with us today, who is a very experienced mortgage advisor. So I'm going to jump onto the next slide to give you a bit of background of us. Today we have Jasmine. Jasmine is the co-founder of RBC. She's been in the market for over 2 decades. Hence, she has a vast experience in the overseas scene. She's also the market pioneer in the UK property marketing for Malaysian market. So both of us actually started in Henry Butcher, but years later, our team got acquired by JLL. So we left the firm in 2017 and 2019 respectively. We have a bit of career break, but we regrouped and we formed RBC in the midst of pandemic. So RBC was basically a COVID baby, but great baby, strong baby. Then the rest is history. David Khan is also our close associate in the mortgage side. He's also a fellow Malaysian, even though he works in the UK, and he's now back in KL for holiday. He has assisted many overseas landlords to secure mortgage in the UK. His experience will allow him to provide or to facilitate cross-border loan applications. And he's basically the person who would bridge the gap between the overseas applicants and the UK lenders due to the various differences in terms of documentation requirement or language as well. Okay, coming up is the agenda of today's webinar. We will definitely start from how to get into UK property market, then followed by buying procedures, which are usually the part where most of the first-time buyers get really confused because of improper guidance or a lot of hearsay from other friends, But we will cover that for you. And also the top tips to buy well. And after that, we'll also share 2 projects, which are currently the buyer's hotspots, followed by a cash flow illustration. Last but not least, financing. So if you want to borrow money, if you want to use other people's money to buy property, David Khan will be the key person who will help you to get to that. Okay. How to enter UK residential property market. So first off, you need to understand the concept and idea of a UK property investment. This means in terms of the current market sentiment you will be subjected to. And what are the buying procedures, whether there is actually financing support for foreign buyers like us. And the differences in lease tenures, taxes, or other relevant rules and regulations. So ultimately, this objective of this exercise is to bridge the gap between expectation and reality. And that makes our role as consultant extremely crucial, as we are the team who have pulses on the market, so we are able to align expectations and subsequently present to you the most practical approach to buy your first home in the United Kingdom. Step 2, you need to understand your investment objectives. Yes, when you do everything in life, there must be a goal and objective. And from there, you will know how to lay out your strategy. We have helped many Malaysian buyers through this process via private consultation, where they can share their goals with us. And from there, we can guide them to fine-tune between their risk appetite and goals. So for instance, will the purchase only be for the duration of their children's educations? Will the purchase be, was the purchase to be mainly building up a portfolio of properties in the UK, or will it be to leave a legacy for your grandchildren? or purely for wealth preservation. So all these objectives would then help to set up the tenure of your goal, which can break down into short, mid, and long-term goals. Step 3, budget, money, and financing. So say if you are interested, you will need to set a comfortable investment budget and understand the financing options available. Normally in the UK, or predominantly in London, one bed will fall between £300,000 to £500,000, and the two-bedders will be priced above that. The capital outlay, which is the total deposit payment, down payment, will be usually between 20 to 30%, depending on how much you are borrowing from a bank. Financing is available even if you're investing from overseas. So generally speaking, the margin of finance is between 70 to 75%. All the budget preparation will put you in the right financial headspace and support your financial planning from the ground up. We have got clients who came to us with unrealistic budget to buy in prime areas in London and refusing to consider secondary locations, which then led them to feel frustrated, and they feel that they're missing out on the growth sitting on the fence for too long. Step 4, selecting the right property. This is, of course, the most important part of the process. We will help you in identifying the hotspots areas. From there, we'll find the best value proposition and with a good exit strategy among this area. Step 5, finally, and also another important part of the investment journey is to have your property support group. What do you do post-completion? And who is going to lease and manage your property professionally so you can go on your life in Malaysia and sleep well at night? If you have the right property support group, you know that you can turn to them whenever issues comes up or you're needing someone to discuss the property with. So in RBC, for instance, we're able to direct you to the established letting and management partners and also furniture suppliers who usually have long and strong track record dealing with overseas landlords like us. So your best interest will be always looked after. While many of your friends may have ideas or may have already lived or studied in the UK before, it doesn't mean or doesn't make them the property expert unless they're in the UK property market themselves. We have heard of many stories where friends or clients, they gave poor and wrong advice, resulting in clients missing out or not being put to optimize the returns of their property. Coming up is buying procedures, the steps to get from step number 1, purchasing, and also up to post-completion. Step 1, set up a consultation with RBC to identify your investment needs, your budget strategy, and the area of interest. So meaning to say, you may have preference in terms of investing in London City, Zone 1, Zone 2. Then we can look into those areas if the budget is realistic. So once the match is found, we will guide you through the whole reservation and buying process, as well as payment, and that is step 2. Step 3, we would then recommend you to establish solicitor, and from there, we will arrange a prelim legal meeting, especially for the first-time buyers, to understand your legal rights. Then follow up by a contract explanation call. Once the contract is signed and the first deposit payment is through, the contract is then successfully legally binding, which is called as exchange in the UK. So after exchange, that would be phase 2. Say, for example, you actually buy a property that has got 12 to 18 months build time, because that's what Malaysians are receptive to of the planned purchase. So they buy low, sell high. But after they put down the down payment and after exchange, there'll be a period of time you're just waiting for construction period. So we will provide the construction updates and progress in a timely manner. We usually will travel to the UK and take down photos and videos and then send over to our clients. And thank you, no more travel restriction. We can now freely flying to UK. In fact, we just came back from the UK. Developers, on the other hand, will also provide construction progress to all buyers in the newsletter format. Then step 5, we will promptly remind and assist you on mortgage application. And that is when you will see and talk to David. The timeline we are looking at is usually between 8 to 9 months prior to estimated handover date, which is equivalent to TOP, okay, the completion date, the legal completion date. So from there, you will have ample time to shop for the right financier. I will leave the financing detail to David later to cover. Now, step 6 is when the property is finally completed and the key is ready. We will guide you through the completion process, including the final payment, the loan disbursement, and the completion document signing. Okay, and that's not it. After completion, we are still with you. So step 7 and step 8, they run pretty much concurrently. We will connect you to the right leasing and property manager as well as furniture company post-completion to ensure that your unit is in perfect move-in and rentable condition. On step 9, now even though we have passed the handover stage, we will continue to deal with any other issues or concern that you may have experienced throughout your investment journey. For instance, we can advise you and assist you in the resale of your property, including arranging for valuation or advising on the exit strategy. So in conclusion, RBC is pretty much in the picture from day one until after completion. So we are actually quite clingy in that sense to our client. We are always there for you. Next, I'm gonna pass these professional tips sharing to Jasmine. She will be telling you all the top tips to buy well in the UK property market. Over to you, Jess.
Thank you, Shelvin. I'm now just going to share some tips with you guys on how to buy well. The first one is preparation matters. So the most common theme amongst most investors is the importance of research. Regardless of the asset type, taking the time out to plan for your next 5, 10, and even 20 years is the difference between a good investment and a great one. So you might want to consider each aspect of the investment and research them individually. For example, in property investment, you will need to research the location, the tenant demand, such as, what matters to a tenant, transport link, schools, universities, employment potential of the area, and also any redevelopment and facilities that will entice residents, as well as past performance of nearby developments and even the history of your developer and as well as your agent. I know this sounds perhaps very overwhelming amount of homework, and we have found also that some people do extensive amount of research and it ends up putting them in a very confusing position as well. So our advice is we are the experts in this since 2006. So come and have a chat with us, come and have a private consultation with us, have an idea of where you stand and what's possible. Then we will present you with a couple of options and you can start your research from there. And obviously we will guide you on what matters most from an investor point of view. Tip number 2 is your strategy, which comes under your research stage, but it's a very important, what kind of strategy would you want to have? So devising and sticking to a solid strategy that covers both the short-term and long-term will help you make a more informed decision and prevent you from straying from your main goal. So many investors will use their stages of life as a guidance or a percentage of return or growth as a guide. So for example, your purpose may be to build up a passive income for yourself. So you want to generate positive cash flow while waiting for the capital growth of the property. You might be somebody who is very driven by properties which offers low maintenance fees and outgoings to increase the positive cash flow into your pocket. And then say after 5 years, when the property reaches an X percentage of growth, which say, for example, 20%. You may wish to revalue the property to extract additional liquidity to get another property. Others who may be like me, being an Asian parent where I invest for the sake of my children's education. So I might I have already invested in overseas properties, both in Australia and in the UK when my son was around 9 years old, because I wasn't sure where he was going to end up. And to a lot of Malaysians, it's either you invest in Australia, Melbourne, or you go to London. So that's the popular cities, okay? But I also want to be ensured that these cities that I invest in, I will not have an issue in finding the tenants for the years to come until I'm ready. And when it's time to attend my son to attend the university, I can then choose to liquidate whichever the property is giving me the better return and use that money to pay for his tuition fees. And of course, if I'm able enough financially, I can also let him use the property and not, let him be subjected to rental availability. Tip number 3 is about your mentality. So a lot of Malaysian investors tend to apply the Malaysian investment mentality when they're buying overseas property, or become overly emotional about their investment property, which is totally normal, very natural as well. So for example, because of the humid weather condition we have in Malaysia, we may not appreciate balconies and terraces. But in the UK, balconies and terraces are very much in demand. And actually, the bigger outdoor space you have, the more valuable and the more in demand your property will be, especially in the long run. Another example is walking distance to public transportation. In Malaysia, it can be very, hot and uncomfortable to walk for 10-15 minutes to get a train. And reality is most of us do not rely on public transportation to get around in Malaysia. However, in the UK, especially in London, that's your main mode of transport. So, and the weather is certainly much more conducive to do that 10-15 minutes walk for the local residents living there. And not everyone wants to live right next to a tube or a train station, because it's usually a lot busier. And if they want to stay in somewhere a bit more tranquil or have a bit more green, you probably have to step a little bit away from the train station, right? So people may venture out to 10-15 minutes walk where you find a development where it has more green spaces, it can possibly have water setting, so it's coming home that is very welcoming as well. And it's also not an absolute in London to have a car park space when you buy a property there, because there is already very good public transportation, buses, trains, and the tube. So the thinking like a local mentality should be adopted when you're considering your purchase, whether it is for who will rent from you, as well as who will buy from you in the future. Tip number 4, postcode matters. As we know in property, location. Certainly, this is what everyone talks about when they're buying property. So many investors can be stuck as well. We have met many investors who talk about where is this zoning. Zoning is important, but it is not the most important consideration. In fact, there's actually many good residential areas outside of Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, which are very popular among locals. Due to the good school, the green spaces, it can be more affordable. And as long as there's actually good transportation links into central London, people still get to work in half an hour or 45 minutes. People don't mind, because the lifestyle is different, okay? And you will find that these properties are usually very easy to let out and have a lot of breadth also to grow in capital values. So when you're choosing your location, you can look at up and coming markets that will offer the balance between an affordable initial investment and positive growth going forward. For investors, common signposts will be redevelopment or regeneration schemes that are creating new spaces to live, work, and play that potential tenants will be looking for. And before you invest, ask yourself if your new property is going to perform in 10 years' time and work from there. Also, if you prefer to invest in prime central London, you have work out more or less an insulated property, because supply is always going to be very limited and demand will always outstrip supply due to the scarcity of land, as well as the lengthy planning process in London to approve new developments. But if you prefer to start your investment with a lower budget and in a further away location outside of central London, there's nothing wrong in that. We can analyze the location properly with you. If the connection is good, even sometimes it takes a shorter time to commute, even from a zone 4, zone 5 location into central London compared to a zone 3 location or zone 2 location. So you must understand that connection into central London as well. Check if there's any regeneration programs already happening in that area, already happening nearby as well, which can further improve the value of your property in time to come. Tip number 5, property investment is a big and important decision. How much do you need to have in order to start your first investment? I think Shell talked a little bit about that already. You need probably 20, 30% or 35%. How do you roll on to the next property to create a portfolio? Obviously, we have the answer is leveraging. And I'll leave this big question to our money man today here, David Khan, to cover at the later part of our webinar. Tip number 6, property advisors matters. So we have mentioned this before that, you know, having a property support group is very important. So if you have, especially if you're first time investing overseas, right, you want to make sure that you optimize your growth and you make as little mistake as possible. So if you have the right property expert guiding your hand, okay, then you would have lesser issues and you will have a more pleasant experience in terms of investing, as well as making the right amount of returns for what you're looking for at the end of the day. So you can also discuss your property with a property expert and professional as you go along your journey from the start to the end, to the day that you want to exit the market. And with that, I conclude my part of the webinar, and I'll now turn you back to Shelby to share with you on the buyer's hotspot. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine, for the inspiring sharing on the top tips. I would say these are the very professional top tips because she herself is a very experienced investor in the UK market. Now, I'm going to present to you the buyer's hotspots, and these 2 projects are basically located in the west part of London, which is usually quite favored among Malaysian investors because of the lively landscape, because of good school, because of great transportation link, and most importantly, they are near to the airport, so it's easy to commute around. These 2 schemes, they are both near to Heathrow, but they're actually yielding based on different X factors. So let me explain to you in the next 2 slides. First, we have got Haze Village, located in London, in Haze and Hellington. 1 to 3 bedrooms available, all with outdoor space. But the catchy part is, it is actually located within walking distance to Haze and Harlington station. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not just another tube station. There is actually an on-site Crossrail service as well. So for those who don't know what Crossrail is, they are called as Elizabeth Line as well. And it's the brand new, the latest, largest transportation infrastructures program in London itself. And this is basically just like the China high-speed rail, is to connect West London to East London by actually cutting your travel time by half or even more than half. So you can basically reach Bond Street, for example, in 20 minutes, or even the financial quarter, Canary Wharf, in 34 minutes, which normally would take up to 45 to an hour without Crossrail. So Haze Village basically located within 10 minutes walk. I can testify the walking distance because we just walked there ourselves last month. Very pleasant walk. You will walk through all the residential areas. You'll first pass through the high street, which is good as well because you can actually access to all the amenities at doorstep. It is also basically a regen scheme in conjunction with the local council. They are going to create a new canal side environment. And the good news is there is actually a proposed underpass for pedestrian for people who stay in Haze Village to walk to the crossrail or the train station in less than 5 minutes walk. So they are now in talks right now, in discussion, and hopefully this will come true. But most importantly, let's look at the capital growth side. It's 19% expected in the areas for the next 5 years. And I did not quote this, it's actually from CBRE. They have done massive research on the local areas, the demographic, the future demand and the supply as well. So these are all expensive studies, and they are all very close to reality. There will be also planned amenities, including a gym, a coffee shop, and community center. What I really like about this development is the heritage value attached to the development. That is, it used to be a Nestle factory. So the facade of the factory will be all retained, but the internal areas will be converted into lifestyle apartments. So it is actually really cool. Even though when it comes to ceiling height, it's a lot higher than any other average apartments. So this is one of the schemes that we think that will yield from not just from the rental perspective, but also from the capital growth. You may think how much to put in. Let me show you the price range. It is only 336,000 for 1 bed. 2 beds, 482, 3 beds, 519. That translates to price per square foot around 640 pounds per square foot. I know Malaysia always talk about price per square foot, so let's just make that into a Malaysian context, 600. And to be very honest, where can you find a good property if we were to translate into 640 ringgit per square foot in KL? Not really. Next is the second development called High Street Quarter. This is also very close by to the Heathrow Airport, and it's completed. So ready to move in, instant rental income, basically. We also went to the site. It's very vibrant, young and vibrant. I love it because it's smack in the center of Hounslow town. I wish to also highlight to you that it's only 5 minutes walk to the tube station, Hounslow station, the central station, and it's actually serviced by Piccadilly line. So Piccadilly line is not any other train line, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually one of the best underground train lines that can connect you to the airport and central London easily. It is also one of the most efficient train lines in London. So you probably will get less frequency in terms of tube strike, for example. Most of the tube strike will be from other tube lines, but Piccadilly line has been one of the main artery for transportation. So very, very little cases where you get the tube strike on this Piccadilly line. From Hounslow Central Station, you can be at Heathrow Airport in only 10 minutes, which is ultra convenient. And in central London, half an hour. So just to quote you a few popular examples, it would take 30 minutes to get to Knightsbridge, which is where Harrods is. You can also have direct access to Piccadilly Circles, to Leicester Square, which is a Chinatown, and Covent Garden in 40 minutes. King Cross sits on the same line, which takes 45 minutes. And as you can imagine, Paris is just one station away from there. That is why, because you can actually hop on to Eurostar to get to the City of Light or City of Love. So price per square foot is 610 pounds per square foot, affordable. So 1 bed is from 345. And basically, this is not just another project in a town called Hounslow. Basically, it's right at the doorstep of High Street. So you can access to all the major brands like TK Maxx, Primark, JD Sports, HSBC is there. All the major banks are there, all within walking distance. And there is also an on-site cinema called Cineworld. And downstairs, when you get down from the apartments, your get-go is Starbucks, because the Starbucks cafe is just at the doorstep as well. So this is how convenient it is. It's full-fledged, well-serviced, self-sufficient community. 21% price growth and 20% rental growth to be forecasted over the next 5 years. Now, here's the most important slide from RBC part, the cash flow, the acquisition costs. In RBC, we take pride in being transparent to our clients. There's no such thing called hidden costs, or because we are actually 100% upfront with all the fees that will be incurred during the acquisition and holding stage. We have picked a one bed on the 6th floor from High Street Quarter as the case study. And the payment terms is actually very straightforward. 10% down payment and 90% balance upon the completion, which takes usually between 60 to 75 days. So everything is on the estimation basis, but the process is universal, especially for new build purchase. Let's go through the item here. So we have got booking fee £2,000, yeah? And these £2,000 will usually form part of the first 10%, okay? So we will actually minus the 10% with £2,000 from here. So first 10% usually will kick in 21 to 28 days, depending on the development. Then will be balance payment because High Street Quarter is completed. So you will have to start applying for mortgage if you're going for a financing as your options to complete. One-time acquisition cost. Of course, you will definitely need a solicitor to represent you for the transaction, and the solicitor will be from the UK. He or she has to practice in the UK law. But worry not, because we have a panel of really good solicitors who are very familiar with overseas buyers. So estimation is, we're just based on the purchase price. The legal fee is roughly about 2.7 to 3K. There will be also stamp duty as well, because stamp duty is government charges, it's a transfer tax. So all in the effective rate, including the non-residence tax, yeah, which is 2% surcharge, is about 7%, which is still very low if you compare with Canada or Hong Kong or Singapore, which is 30% crazy, or even Australia. We are still on the low side. So effectively, when it comes to the total acquisition cost, is roughly about 27,000, including the stamp duty. Yeah. Now, average expenses is when the property completes, and then you're going to start paying for the service charge. So the service charge is the maintenance or the management fee of the communal areas or the lift access. Basically, it's just like our management fee here for the condos and apartments. So service charge is 1,455 per annum. Yeah, per annum. And blessing for this scheme, yeah, is peppercorn ground rent. You don't have to pay for the ground rent. So it's free. Letting fee is when you have a property agent or property manager who help to let out and find the tenants and lease out to the tenants. So they do charge a fee based on that, which is usually between 10 to 12% VAT based on the annual rental income. So I have put down all the details in. Total annual cost is 3.7. And when it comes to the estimated rental, I actually got this number from an achieved rental rate, because there are also apartments being rented out already. So all in, your gross yield is 4.5, which is considered fantastic in London, such an established area, but yet you still can achieve more than 4% yield. Net yield is when we deduct all the costs, all the outgoings, for example, service charge and letting fees. So it's 3.45%. Okay. Now, money part. I'm going to head over to David Khan, financing. And don't worry, when you buy property in the UK, you still can get loan in the UK. Yeah. So I will let David explain what are the options and package, and also the LTV as well. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you, Charlene.
Thank you,
Thank
David.
you.
you can start sharing your slides.
Yes, I'm sharing it now, so everyone should be able to see this one. And let me run my share. So could everyone see the share screen?
All good. Yes, all good.
Good. Okay. Yes, good afternoon to everyone. So my name is David Gan. All right. So I'm actually originally I'm from Malaysia. Okay, but I moved to the UK since 2006. I've been living there until now, so more than 12 years. So been working in this Orica commercial as a financial mortgage advisor. So let me talk about what is Orica commercial first. First of all, Orica Commercial Limited is actually regulated by the UK Financial Conduct Authority with the financial legislation number of 6307772, where actually you could go to the UK Financial Conduct Authority to search our firm by using this legislation number. Orica Commercial Limited is also a registered member of this Financial Intermediary Broker Association as well. Yeah. And for the Orica Commercial in the UK, we have access to more than 230 plus the UK lender. Okay, there's a lot of lender compared to the Malaysia. Okay, so because in the Malaysia and in the UK market is totally different. In UK, there are, besides all the well-known high street bank like the HSBC or Standard Chartered or Citibank or Maybank, so there are a lot of all others lender you might not ever heard about that, because those lender, they do not provide saving or current account. They only provide mortgage. Okay, they only provide mortgage loan to those lenders. So there's plenty of them. Okay, Orica Commercial, we have access to all of these lender. So that's why we could provide, based on the applicant's circumstance, then we could provide the best option for the client. For Orica Commercial, our business module for type of business we have is buy-to-let or HMO, house of multiple occupants, okay, or bridging loan, a commercial property, right, a business loan, a development finance, assets finance, invoicing factoring. Yeah, that is the business Orica Commercial Limited is doing. Today, we will be more touching based on the buy-to-let HMO or the bridging loan. The HMO is just like a normal terrace house or a semi-detached house or a bungalow who converted to a multiple room to let the room one by one instead of letting the entire house. That is called house of multiple occupants, but it still fall under the buy-to-let section. Bridging loan is just a temporary loan where people who need very urgently to complete the mortgage or complete the purchase. Yeah, then after that, then they could go for the standard buy-to-let mortgage after the completion. So a bridging loan would be another option. Yeah, for the buy-to-let, okay, to buy a property in the UK, okay, what nationality actually could qualify to obtain a mortgage, okay, or obtain a loan in the UK? First of all, if the person is a UK resident, yes. A Malaysian, definitely not a problem. The rest of the country like China, Macau, Hong Kong, Canada, Australia, USA, Nigeria, Europe, okay, Singapore, they are all fine. As long as the country is not in the sanction list, then there are definitely a lender could lend to them. But of course, it's not all lender will lend to certain country, right? Like Nigeria, right? Like China. It's not all the country, it's not all the lender will do, but definitely that is a lender could do. But to qualify to get a mortgage in the UK, okay, you could be employed, or you could be a self-employed or running your own business like a director, owning your director, or you're running the business as a sole proprietor, or you could be a retired person without any employment income, yeah. Or you could be a portfolio landlord, which you don't do any job. Okay, your main job is to letting your property. That is called professional landlord. Yeah. So all these person could be qualified to get a mortgage in the UK. Yeah. For the income requirement, there are so many lenders. Some lender they do, some lender they don't. Okay, but basically it's called no minimum income requirement. When we say no minimum income requirement, it doesn't mean no income requirement. Okay, but it just said no minimum. So you need to have some income. Okay, even though like £5,000 per year, £10,000, or 25, or 50, or 75,000 pounds. Yeah, so depends on your income, then we will know what kind of lender will accept the applicants. Yeah, then based on that, then we will look for other criteria as well. Yeah, and for because the property is buy for investment purpose, it's not for self-living. Okay, there will be a totally different concept in the Malaysia mortgage. For buy-to-let investment in the UK, when the bank do the assessment, the bank not really concerned about the debt of the applicants. So it doesn't matter whether the person has one mortgage or two mortgage or three mortgage or four mortgage in the Malaysia. Yeah. So when we do the assessment, okay, we just purely look at how's the person income and the type of the purchase. For the repayment in the UK is totally different. In the UK, there is a capital and plus interest. We call it a repayment. Yeah. But for the repayment, that means the assessment, when the lender, they do the assessment, they will do assessment based on the applicant income and commitment, right? And the loan amount is subject to the availability of the applicant's income. Okay, it's similar like how you apply a loan in Malaysia. So when Malaysia, they assessing your loan application, they will say how much you're earning and what is your commitment, how many children you have, how many debt you have, how many credit card you have, and so on. Yeah, but in the UK, there is another type of repayment where it's not available in Malaysia. Is we call interest only mortgage. That means every month we pay only the interest without capital. Yeah, so in that case, when the lender assessing this type of application, there is no minimum income requirement for interest only mortgage application. Yeah. And the loan subject to the rent income is not subject to the applicant's income. It doesn't matter how much the applicant income, even though the applicant could be earning 250,000 per year, or the applicant earning 25,000 per year. Okay, for interest only mortgage, that is subject to the rent income. Yeah. For the maximum mortgage term, the mortgage terms could be start from 5 years to 35 years. Every time when you apply the maximum one times, again, the lender will offer is maximum up to 35 years or up to the applicant age 67. Some lender go up to 75, some lender go up to 85, some lender go up to the age of 99. So there is no such worries that, oh, I'm 50 now, oh, I'm 60 now, can I still get a mortgage? Definitely, there are lenders available for you, but of course not all lenders. Yeah, for the type of the mortgage, yeah, in the UK, normally they are breaking down into three. Okay, there is a discounted rate. Yeah, the discounted rate is actually a discount from the standard variable rate. The standard variable rate normally is quite high. It's somewhere around like something like 5% and above. But the lender will do some discount from there, maybe say like 2% discount from their standard variable rate or 1.5% discount from their standard variable rate. And because it is a discounted rate, the rate will change when the standard variable rate change. When it will be changed, the standard variable rate, it normally depends on the market condition. When the market demands is go worse, and then the lender might increase their standard variable rate. If you are enjoying a 2% discount from the standard variable rate, and the lender decided to say that, oh, now we need to increase our standard variable rate up to 7.5%. So that means your rate could be like 7.5% minus 2%. So your rate will be 5.5%. Okay, that's called discount rate. This is not a fix. Okay, and the rate change when the lender change the standard variable rate, and the lender could change their standard variable rate anytime. Okay, without a long notice. Normally, the lender will only give 1 month notice. The other type is called tracker rate. The tracker rate is normally tracked based on the Bank of England base rate. As of today, the Bank of England base rate is 1.25%. So if the lender they're using a tracker rate, that could be say my rate is 2.85 and the Bank of England tracker rate is 1.25. So total up you'll be looking at 4%. All right, and the rate is changed when the Bank of England base rate is changed. How and when the Bank of England going to change their base rate? This base rate actually is reviewed every month. The Bank of England will announce if they think they need to change it. Okay, for the last 6 months, the Bank of England base rate was changed every 2 months. So the next expected change should be starting from August. Okay, that is what the news that we heard, but there is no confirmation yet whether the Bank of England will change or not, but expected to be changed. Okay, to be increased again. The other type is called fixed rate. The fixed rate is actually, sorry, I think I put it on wrong here. It's not tracked with the Bank of base rate. Actually, fixed rate, they don't change. If you sign up the mortgage application, say 4%, that means from the day one, your interest rate will be locked at 4% and throughout the fixed period. The fixed period could be the first 2 years or first 5 years. Your mortgage could be 35 years, but the first 2 years or first 5 years, your interest rate will not change. In regards how the Bank of England changed their base rate, your interest rate will not change. So you will have a stability monthly payment for the first initial time period, like 2 or 5 years. So you have no worry about the rate change. So most of us in the UK, when we do the investment for the buy to let, we always go with the fixed rate because we do not want to have a certain surprise from the Bank of England, right? And the minimum loan amount, different lender, because there are so many lenders. Some lender they're offering a minimum loan amount of 75,000 minimum. Some of them say 100,000, 150,000, 250,000, and 500,000. It's just subject to which lender you will be using. Okay. For the maximum loan amount could be up to the property value. We call loan to value. Could be up to the property value from 50 to 80%. Yeah, and it's subject to whether the rental income is enough to cover. If the rental income is enough, you could go up to 80%. If not, you could go 75%, or if you want, you could go up to 50%, or you can go even below 50% as long as it's above the minimum loan amount. Okay. The interest rate today, you'll be looking at from 3.24% to 5.89%. It's subject to whether you are going with a tracker rate, discount rate, or a fixed rate. Okay, and the rate as per today, okay, is still the same from 3.24% to 5.89%. So it's all subject to what kind of mortgage, what kind of type of the mortgage you are choosing, and what is the applicant circumstance and what lender that could qualify to use, and that will decide the rate. For the application process, normally is, first of all, we will initiate a call. We will arrange an initial call with you, and to find out some idea what is your objective, okay, what is your circumstance is. Then after we have the call, then we will know what kind of document that we need to see. Yeah. Then after the call, we will send you the email for you to fill up some of the personal information and also list out the document that we need to check. After checking your document, then we will provide you the mortgage option. So based on your information, then we will know what type of a lender you could qualify. And based on the the group of the lender, what is the minimum rate and what is the fees will be involved. Then we will list out the option for you to decide which option you want to proceed. Once you decided which option you want to proceed, then we will apply for the agreement in principle for you. Agreement in principle is a pre-application to confirm that the loan amount you require will be available based on your circumstance. So once we have this agreement in principle for you, because we have checked your document, okay, after we get the ARP for you, definitely you are safe, because we are very sure we could get you the loan amount to what the amount that you want. Once you have this agreement in principle, you already know you are definitely could get the loan amount, then yeah, you'll feel safe to reserve the property, right? And after the property reserved, then we'll go with the full mortgage application. The full mortgage application will, of course, involve to update all these documents, because sometimes some people, they take about 1 month or 2 months to look around for the property, the right property they want to buy. And in that case, then we will need to see the updated 2 or 3 months document. And then we'll submit the full mortgage application. Okay, it could take about like a month to 2 months, subject to the lender. Okay, which lender that you choose. Okay, the lender will take about a month to 2 months. During this period, the lender will send in a third-party valuation company to do the survey of the property to make sure the property price and the rental income is correct to what we declare. And if everything's all right, then the lender will issue the mortgage approval. In that case, your mortgage is fine, it's approved. Once you have this mortgage approved, then the lender, they will send the mortgage legal paper pack, the legal pack to your solicitor. And then your solicitor will start preparing all the legal paperwork for you to sign the mortgage deed, and do all this environment search, council taxes, utility search about that property. Right, and everything, all the legal paperwork done, completed, then your legal will communicate with the developer and the lender legal to complete the purchase. That is the whole process on applying the mortgage. But of course, if you're buying a cash, that will be slightly different. Okay, for that, then you could speak with Shelvin on that. Yeah, for that is the base. That is the general idea of getting the mortgage. Because in the UK, if you want to get a mortgage, the summary is, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how much income you have, as long as you have the income. Yeah, and it doesn't matter how many commitment you have in the Malaysia, either how many credit card or how many debt you have. Okay, as long as you do not have missed payment, it's fine, not a problem. The lender don't look at your commitment. Yeah, and it also doesn't matter how many children you have. Yeah, that don't worry about that. Yeah, and as long as you don't mind of the interest rate at the moment. Okay, because in the UK the rate, we mostly go with the fixed rate, like fixed 2 year or fixed 5 years. So after, at the end of the 5 years, we will change to another lender, right? So in that case, the rate might be high at the moment, but during this period, okay, then you could start, have your paperwork ready, more in a better position. Let's say some people who are doing a self-employed, the first 2 years, their trading record is not really that fantastic, and then but they are forecasting the next 3 years they will have a business boom, boost up, so they will have more business, the net profit will have more. In that case, after 3 years, then their conditions will be much better. In that case, they could be qualified to use a much better lender, right? So in that case, then after the end of the fixed rate, then they could start switching to another lender. So that is a totally different in Malaysia. Malaysia, normally you sign up a mortgage with one bank, then you will be tend to until the end of the mortgage. But in the UK, it's not. In the UK, we always switch to another lender if that is a better interest rate. All right. So if you have any other question that you need to speak with me, all right, of course you could contact Shelvin, or of course you could contact me. All all right, then we could set up an initial call to find out what is your requirement is, right? Then anything question, just let us know. I should pass this video back to Sherwin.
Yes. Thank you, David. Very detailed in terms of the requirements and the process of getting financing from the UK. But all in all, I wish to also highlight that while you can access to UK lenders, you could also access to Malaysian banks as well. But the advantage of getting UK lenders or the financing from UK banks is the flexibility to have interest-only loan. That's number one. Number two, because everyone's circumstances is different. We find that the UK lenders are more fluid in that sense. They can actually just consider giving different LTV or different type of loan based on your personal financial circumstances. Where else in Malaysia, the local financiers are more rigid from our experience, because I'm also getting financing from Malaysian bank. There are certain requirements to fulfill as well. So in a way, you are actually put under the radar of all the secrets and all that. But as you go through UK lenders, it's not as naked or transparent in that sense. So that's why I've been always asking the clients to go with UK financing, because they can save a lot of hassles. And even for rental income, they are not as, it's more yielding in that sense when you only need to serve the interest portion for the mortgage. Okay. We are now at the stage of Q&A, which we would like to open the floor for questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A or in the chat. So basically, a lot of people are asking in the chat section. Let me see. The High Street quarter is not in the flight path. It's not. But you can see aircraft. You can see, because I do have the video that shows that the planes are flying across. It's not very close, but you can see the aircraft flying through and approaching to landing. It's not within the flight path. Okay. When you switch lender, this one David answered already. Oh, we got a very good review, David. David is highly recommended. He's our mortgage broker and an expert in this subject matter. Oh, see, that's why we have David today. Share ownership question has been answered. Yeah, share ownership is only available to the local British or the PR, the residents. It has to be the tax residents who have been staying there for more than 3 years and drawing the income as your employment income in the UK.
Maybe I could share a few more scenarios if the time is allowed.
Yes, of course. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of sometimes come across some customer who asking us, is there any possible that we buy the property to and then I'll say that the parents will pay for the mortgage, but the property will put both the parents and the children's name together. Yeah, that definitely is not a problem. Yeah. Some customer that will also ask, is it any possible that the mortgage will be paid by the parents, but the mortgage title or the property title deed in the name of the children? Yeah. In the past, yes. In the past, yeah, but not for the moment. Not at the moment. Yeah. But if the applicant's children, if the children who are living and working in the UK, then yes, we could do that. But if they are working and they're living, but if they're studying in the UK, then at the moment there's not, right? So there are different way to overcome that, but definitely I will need to know what is the client's circumstances, right? And also there are sometimes we are come across some customer that have taking this payment holiday, okay, from the bank for their local property. So during the first 6 months or during 6 months or how many months, okay, they do not need to pay or servicing the mortgage. if that's the case, that might have some impact to their application. But of course, there are other lenders could consider that as well. Yeah. And some lender, they will also have some requirement, first-time buyer and first-time landlord. Yeah, they might not allow that. They might not accept that. But there are other lender, they don't care. Other lender, they actually don't mind whether that is a first-time buyer or is a first-time landlord. Yeah, and also in the UK, we could buy the property in a personal name, or we could buy a property in a UK SPV limited company as well. Yeah, so if we buy with a limited company, that means the property will be held in the name of the company, and then the applicant is the director of the company. Yeah, and how many person could be in the company? Maximum is four director. Maximum is 4, or it could be one director, 3 shareholder. If the shareholder holding less than 20%, yeah, then of course the shareholder could be up to 10 or 20, doesn't matter. Okay, as long as the share does not more than 20%, we do not need to put their name on the application. Okay, but anyway, the property will be held in the name of the company, but during the mortgage application, we will need to include anyone who hold more than 20% share. Yeah, and the deposit could be from the applicant's own saving. It could be a gift from a spouse, a gift from a parents, okay, or a gift from the children. Yes, no problem. Okay, and they're also doing the remortgage. Yeah. So it could do a remortgage existing property to release the cash out if the existing property has some extra cash. Let's say if you bought the property like a few years back, okay, cash purchase or with a mortgage, now because the property price gone up so crazy in these few years, so your property price could be a lot more higher. Say if maybe you bought it at 500,000 a few years back, and if today the property worth 700,000, so you could release more cash out from that property and then use the cash released to purchase property without transferring or limiting funds from Malaysia. Yeah, that is also one option as well. Now we come across so many clients that actually they do not know they could do a remortgage from that. You know, I'm helping a lot of clients to help them to release some of the cash, because instead of using your own cash to purchase one property, releasing the cash from the property equity earning, they could buy 2 or 3 more property from that. Okay, yeah. So is there any other questions?
Any more questions? Feel free. We'll open the Q&A for another 2 minutes. Oh, thank you, Caroline. Thank you so much. Yes, we have projects in Manchester.
For the mortgage wise, yeah, for the mortgage wise, it doesn't matter the property in London or in Manchester or in anywhere, as long as the property is within the United Kingdom, yeah, we will be able to get you the lender for that.
I think, Caroline, if you would like to find out more about our projects in Manchester, perhaps you can approach us through email. I will just put on the screen and
yeah, I think somebody requested for David's one
David,
as well.
yeah.
So if you want to flash that screen again,
hold
just
You might just type my WhatsApp number.
Mm.
Yeah, my WhatsApp number there. So on the chat, so anyone who want to contact me, of course you could add me to your WhatsApp. So then we could schedule a call through the WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is more convenience. You know.
And anyone who wants to know any project information or just have a consultation in terms of what other projects which may interest you as well in the UK, just let us know, and then we will attend to you individually.
Oops. Let me key
Does
in.
RBC charge a fee? Not to you.
Not to you.
Yeah, we do charge a fee.
Customer.
Yeah, we do charge a fee to the developer, okay, not to the buyer, not at this stage. Yeah, so nothing usually, unless it's a very special case where there is a secondary property and a very high end, that's a different category. But other than that, we don't.
Yes.
For the mortgage application, there will be a fees involved. Okay, so normally the fees charged by the bank. Right? So normally most of the bank, every bank, they will charge a lender application fees. So this lender application fee is subject to the lender. Some lender, they will charge this fee in advance, okay, before they start assessing the document. So after they're assessing the document, if they file the case they're not doable, they will do a full refund. Yeah. Some lender, they do charge this application lender application fees, but they deducted from the loan amount, so you do not need to pay upfront. Some of them is just you pay when the lender release the fund to your solicitor, so you don't need to pay upfront. Some lender, they do charge of valuation fees, property valuation fees. Some lender, they don't charge. For the property valuation fee, you could be looking somewhere around like 200 to 600 pounds maybe. Of course, if you're buying the property, say 2 million to 3 million, of course, the property valuation fees might be slightly higher. Yeah, and some lender, they do charge legal fees. Some lender, they don't charge. Okay, so it's subject to the applicants, what is the circumstance could qualify. So normally then we will provide the applicant the option, so showing all the fees might be involved. Okay, with this option, what is their interest rate and what is the interest payment, what is the fees will be charged by the lender, right? So after the option sent to the client, then the client could we will normally have a chat with the client again if they have any other doubt on that. Okay.
Thank you, David.
So leave it to you, Sylvie.
Yep. If there's no more question, or probably you're too shy, or you probably have still processing the information, I hope we actually did not overwhelm you for information, because we try to keep it short and sweet. But if you have any questions for us, for RBC, for David, we have already left down the details, the contact details just now on the screen. But I will also reach out to all of you because you have already registered via your email address. So I will leave down the contact details from there as well. You can follow up with your question from there. Okay. Yeah. So that.
We also have, I think, sales event, physical events in KL.
Yeah.
Not this month, but August, September, October. I think we will be having physical events, usually in KL City.
Yes.
So you can also let us know if you want to be sort of invited and you want to get to know the upcoming projects in our pipeline as well.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much. That sort of wrap up our webinar. I hope you find it useful, informative, and give you a bit more insights of the market. The market is very active now, it's vibrant. So don't miss the boat. If you need more information regarding the buyer's hotspot, let us know. Let us know. Thank you so much for attending our session today. And we will see you again. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Shelvin. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, David. Thanks, everyone.
Have a lovely weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.